Hey everybody, welcome back to Bowling Lefties channel. Just wanted to give you guys a wrap up. I know I had said I was probably going to do a recap every day of each day of the tournament, but I figured it was so tiring after I got home with traffic and everything coming back from San Diego every day. I just decided to do this one. Just got back a couple hours ago. Ended with a great tournament. Um, we'll talk about the first 3 days. Going to talk about some uh, challenges that you might face during tournament, some moves, some ball changes that I made, some lane adjustments. So let's get into it. So the first day was singles event. I was bowling on the, I guess, the high end of the bowling alley, and started off great. Um, One of the things, the first adjustment I'll talk about because it affected me the first couple games of the tournament was your thumb hole. Okay, depending on what certain places you bowl, your thumb might swell, might shrink, and so I'm a very much of a feel person when it comes to my thumb. And so for me, that was the biggest thing. Those first couple games, my spare ball had probably was a little too tight, grabbed it a little too much, and it was sticking a little bit. Missed a few easy spares the first couple games, and so I ended up taking out a piece of tape from actually both thumbs. I have the but both thumbs are pretty. The thumb in my regular ball and then the thumb in my spare ball are pretty. I've got them pretty worked out over the time where they're almost equal to each other, where I don't have a big difference, where I don't need to switch them out all the time. So, and it gives me two good thumbs that in case one of them breaks, I can go to the other one and I'll have the same exact feel. So once I took that piece of tape out, my spare shooting was great. I had some great spare shooting, and I'll get into that in a little bit. But the first day ended up averaging about 210, 211 for 5 games. Ended up in fifth place in the singles event. The guy on my pair, another lefty, pretty much played just left of my line and shot a great score. He averaged, I think, like almost two, I think 245 for that first day. So he had a great first day. So little disappointed because I didn't make the change early enough. I really should have made the thumb change quicker. And that's one thing you'll know whether it comes to lane adjustments, ball changes. The pro, that's what makes the pros so good. I do know they have help with their people out there who give them advice while they're bowling. But for the common bowler who bowls tournaments and stuff, a lot of times that's our biggest issue is knowing when to make those adjustments, when to make those changes. So for me, I was trying not to take any tape out for a while, but then I just realized, hey, you know what? I need to do it. I was sticking a little bit on my thumb. My thumb was a little bit swollen because of where we were at. It was really warm in the bowling alley. So I don't sweat normally when I bowl, but I had a little bit of perspiration that day. So it was one of those things. I was glad I made the change, and it helped me the rest of the tournament. I just had to make that one change when it came to my thumb throughout that tournament, and the thumb felt great. My hand felt great for 3 days. My back felt great for 3 days. It was an awesome, as far as the way I felt for my first tournament, my first time bowling 3 straight days since my back injury. It was a huge, mental boost for me to know that I didn't have to worry about my back. I did my stretches every day before I went. When I got home that night, did my stretches, did what I'm supposed to do. And man, it held up all 3 games. I feel great. My legs feel great. Obviously, a little sore each night. I use, even though my thumb is pretty conditioned, I don't really get blisters very often. I still will use this stuff that gymnasts use called Ripstop. And it's like just a ointment very similar to the consistency of like a petroleum jelly, and put that on my thumb. The next day, any redness that it might have had or any start of a blister that would come, it goes away normally that night. So it's awesome stuff. Go out there. You can find it on Amazon is where I got it. It's called Ripstop, Ripstop. It's great stuff. Every bowler should have it, especially if you do get thumb problems or you are bowling a lot more than your body's used to. It's great to have just in case you start feeling a little tenderness in your thumb. Use that stuff. It works great. So the first day I started off, it seemed like they were hooking pretty good. So I started out right away after practice. I threw the Mesmerize, the Hammer Black Widow Mania, and then the Stealth mode. I tried the Theorem. Theorem hooked way too much that first day, had too much back end on it. So I went with the, I ended up starting with the Stealth mode. So bowled with the Stealth mode, had some had the first two games were a couple low 200s, but each of the first two games, actually 3 games, I started with the open in the 10th frame and still was able to shoot a 200. So I did give away quite a few pins during that. The third game, my open in the 10th was a pocket split. Not much you could do about that. This house, one thing I will say, we were bowling at Mira Mesa Lanes in San Diego, one of the last bowling alleys left, owned by Missy and Drew Parkin. And I spoke with Missy right before, thanking her for letting us use her bowling alley. And, as always, she's wished me well and, just a really, really good people. So anyways, the staff was excellent. The lanes were taken care of as far as the machines and stuff. Anytime you had a problem, they were right there to fix it for you. Really good as far as that goes. So you didn't really have too much, you didn't really have any breakdowns whatsoever. Other thing that was nice about this tournament is that because the bowling alley didn't open till 3 in the afternoon, we started at 11. They were able to put 2 of us on a lane. Now, for me, when I'm bowling a tournament, the less people, the better. Less changes you got to make on the lanes. The quicker you can bowl, the more you can get, for me at least, the more I can get in a rhythm. Any more than 3 on a lane is kind of, you can kind of get out of rhythm, or it can turn into a long day, especially if you're bowling 5 games. So the first two games, used the Stealth mode. Wasn't quite getting the reaction that I wanted to. It kind of started straightening out a little too much. So at games 3 through 5, every day we switched pairs. We went in a pair to the right, or we moved to, like today, we moved back left about 6 to 8 pairs, or 6 to 8 lanes. So the first day ended up, I was just really shooting. I had 173 with a couple easy spares that I missed, and then a pocket split, which was kind of the theme of the week. Were single pins and pocket splits. There was quite a bit of hold in the middle, which was nice. If I did miss right, I never really worried too much about a split until the last day today. But the first 2 days, it was, if my miss was right, it was okay. I was fine. But if you miss left, it was out the door. It was a 3 count, 4 count, which fortunately I only did maybe once a day, maybe, and pretty much always resulted in a washout. So after the 173, I did come back with a 238 and finished the day with a 1050, I believe it was. So right at 210 average. And so the last 3 games, what I did was I used the Black Widow Mania, and it was consistent. Was able to really get that tuned in there pretty good. And, just trying to stay with it, stay on my spares, make good spares. And if I got a double, try and turn it into 3. If I got a strike, try and turn it into a double. So that was kind of the name of the game the first day. Second day, I got to tell you, was one of the more challenging days in my bowling career, where I was on the opposite end of the house. And as many of you will find out, topography plays a big role in lane play. You can know the oil pattern, you can do everything right with the oil pattern, but if the topography is off a little bit, you're going to struggle. So I didn't know the topography of the lanes, but that was pretty much what I could boil it down to. So the second day, folks, I left 19 single pins, and I had 9 splits. And of those 9 splits, I believe 5 of them were pocket splits. So for me, normally my move, whenever I have a pocket split, it's the ball. They were all good shots. I felt good about the shots, but I was already having a problem carrying the corners. I would switch from asymmetrical to symmetrical, back and forth. And ultimately, what saved me on the second day, which I only averaged 195 the second day, which really hurt me overall. Going back to the first day in singles, I ended up in 5th place. So disappointing that I didn't medal that first day, but I was still in the mix for all events. And so I was pretty pleased with that. The second day, the doubles really cost me. Me and my partner, who I bowled with the last few years, honestly, I can really say there was about maybe one shot a game, which obviously we're not professionals. We don't, you're bound to have a shot here and there that goes awry or that you don't really throw it as good as you should. And so that was my second day. And when you would have those bad shots, it was like a sport shot, which you pay for it. Rightfully so. If you threw a bad shot, you got a bad result. So that was pretty much the story of the second day. Out of the 19 single pins, I only missed one 7-pin, which for me, I'm about a 90% 7-pin shooter, being left-handed. And so I'm happy with it. Obviously, I would like it to be closer to 95, 96% and to have made every single one of those corners, but didn't happen. So when I say 19 single pins, it was either 7-pin, 10-pin. I did have a couple, obviously I had a couple 8-pins, a couple 9-pins. So, but generally my single pins, I was really spot on. The only one I missed was a 7-pin. So that second day was really a struggle. I stayed right around the 190s pretty much the entire time. My high game was a 204. So to still average 195, it shows I was pretty consistent. I would maybe get a double to make up for one of my opens, a split that I would get, but any more than a double, I think I only had one game where I had 3 or 4 in a row. And so that second day, it was frustrating. My partner who I bowled with, he's right-handed, same thing, dead in the pocket. I mean, we hit the pocket probably 95% of the time, maybe even higher than that, and we could not carry. So I started out with the mesmerize for a game, and when I was leaving splits or kept leaving single pins, I would make my move. So here's the thing: when it comes to single pins, especially 7-pins for a left-hander and 10 for a right-hander, there's a couple different moves you can make. So for me, that first move is always going to be with my feet. Either keeping my eyes on the same target, I'll move my feet. Either for me, it's only a half a board or maybe even a full board, left or right, depending on where I'm at. Most of the time, if it's a 7-pin, I'm going to move my feet left to get the ball to come in a little bit better in the pocket. And so that was the move I made. And then if that move doesn't work and I'm leaving ringing 7-pins, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move forward or back 6 inches forward or back. So did those moves, switch from the mesmerize to the mindset. So correction, not the mindset. I'm trying to think which ball I used the second time. I did try the Black Widow Mania again, and it just wasn't working the second day. Wasn't finishing like I wanted to. It was definitely would have left a lot more pocket splits if I would have stayed with that. I believe my second ball I went to third ball was the knockout bruiser. The stealth mode, I just didn't like the look of it. It just didn't seem like it had enough overall hook. It had great back end, but getting it slow enough for it to cat grab and move was kind of my issue. So I went to the knockout bruiser, which I'm telling you all, this is the ball that I believe I'm going to switch to the hammerhead. I really wish I had that ball drilled before this tournament, but I really believe that would have been a difference because the knockout bruiser is an older ball for me. It's, I want to say 3 or 4 years old now, has been used quite a bit, but it still works really well. So I wasn't too disappointed, but I do think maybe a newer ball, something with a little bit of newer technology in that cover stock would have maybe helped me a little bit more with some of my corners on both days. Any of the days I probably would have been a little more eager to switch. But one thing I learned is that the symmetrical really did not work for me any of the games that I bowled. It was there. It was keeping me in the pocket. It was giving me a clean look, but I could not carry the corners. Was leaving a couple pocket splits. And the key here was that the 6 board was, so I was playing pretty much 7 and 8. I was able to keep it there. If I did get it a little bit right to the 9, it would hold generally. And but if I got it to the 6, the over and unders were ridiculous. It would come back so far that it would end up being a Brooklyn. So with my feet positioning and stuff like that, I really had to be cognizant of that, because if I played too straight up, the ball was going to hook too much. It wasn't, I saw a couple people using urethane. Urethane did not look good. As you know, I don't carry urethane, so that wasn't an option for me. But there were quite a few over unders on that second day. So that's why I decided to use the knockout for a couple games there. And it did work well. It kept me in the running in contention on all events and in our doubles event. And then so what I decided is, like I told many of you, I really have the same drill for every single ball that I have. I just am big on making adjustments to surface. So I had balls anywhere from 1,000 grit to 2,000 grit. Those were my covers that I used. So obviously, when I went from asymmetrical to symmetrical and was getting the same exact look, I thought, well, maybe I need to try my mindset, which is a pin down. It's the only pin down ball I have in my arsenal. And obviously it is a few years old, but I use it only for tournament play. That and the Theorem are the only two balls that I always take with me to tournaments, because it does give me a different look than a lot of my other equipment. So when I switched to the Brunswick mindset, it was giving me a nice read. I was able to carry some strikes. It was the game I shot the 200. And unfortunately in that one, the 10th frame pocket split. So it was just very frustrating, because I was making good shots. I was hitting my target. It was actually probably some of the best 5 games I've bowled as far as hitting my target, my release. Everything felt really good. The ball looked good going down the lane. It was just, man, I could not carry those corner pins. And the same on the right side. The person bowling with us, my partner in doubles, had the same exact problem. Could not carry the 10 pin. So he switched balls. We pretty much went through every ball in the 6 balls that we brought into the bowling alley, and the same result, no matter what we switched. So to be honest, I'm not sure what it was. I'm not sure what I could have done different, which doesn't happen to me very often. Sometimes I'm able to tell you, oh yeah, my release was terrible. I wasn't getting out of the ball correctly. And so in that aspect, it was frustrating. So that was the bad for that. The good was my spare shooting was on point. I think I shot all my makeable spares. I was at like 97% for that day. So it was a great day of spare shooting, which I had to have. And honestly, it kept me in contention going into the final day for all events. In all events, I was in 10th place after 2 days. And I was only about 80 pins out of the 5th spot for the step ladder. So really was pleased with the way the first 2 days, how I had bowled as far as my mechanics and everything like that. The way I felt, all that stuff was good. It was just we hit a pair. And you'll notice if you watch on Bowl TV, whenever they talk about some of the bowlers who are bowling on certain pairs, there's pairs that are bad in every bowling alley. And so the first 2 games, we were on the very first 2 lanes in the bowling alley, and they were rough. The second 2, same thing. I didn't really get much change on that. So that's why I'm boiling it down to possibly the topography of the lane, because the lanes were clean. They were pretty consistent throughout the first 2 days. And, the guys who ended up winning the tournament, they went from like the high side. I believe they were on like 19 and 20 all the way back to 6 and 7, and they struggled the last 3 games as well. Not terribly, but they were complaining about how many corners they were leaving and stuff like that. One of the guys left 3 pocket 710s. So it was a tough pair, but they were on a good pair the first 2 games and bowled so good that it really catapulted them where they could bowl 190 low 2s and still bring home the gold for the doubles, which, for them, congratulations. We did, for even being on crappy lanes, just to show you how difficult it was. We ended up in 4th place in the doubles event, and we were only out of 3rd place by, I believe it was like 30 pins, something like that. So all in all, the first 2 days we were right there, and we had such a good shot, but we just didn't get the carry. We didn't get the breaks that I feel like I got more breaks on that first day for sure. Going into today, So off the bat, of course, you always got to plan to leave early. You always got to plan for something to happen, especially if you're driving. Like I was about an hour and a half away, hour and 15 minutes. And of course, they have a fatal accident where I'm supposed to get on the freeway. And it took me an hour just to get on the freeway. So I end up showing up right before practice starts. I get my shoes on, do a couple more stretches before I get bowling. Pop out of the gate. I'm feeling good again. I'm using the theorem. I decided I was going to go to the theorem. I thought maybe the second day. I left the theorem in the car the second day because it was hooking so much the first day. I thought maybe if I would have had the theorem the second day, it might have helped. Maybe could have been the only other thing that could have helped me get those corners out. But it wasn't with me. It was outside. I didn't want to go outside, so I just stuck with my game and stuck with it and just tried to keep decent scores. So the third day, I brought the theorem in. Started off with a front 9 on the first game, and the 10th shot was a pocket 7-pin. So good shot, but it was definitely a 7-pin shot. It was kind of right in that flat 7 zone. And then spared that and then buried it in the pocket and left an 8-pin. So that was the first game. There was one other lefty bowling with me, and we were pretty much staying on the same exact line. And those lanes were probably the most consistent. They were, I was playing them with exactly the same. There was no difference with them. And one of the things that you'll learn in tournament bowling is you always got to be looking for that move. And the first day I missed the move, the 2 times where I really needed to make a significant move, I missed it and cost me both times. I missed the move. And same thing with the second day or second game. I missed the move. I missed the ball change that I should have made. And so I joined the Century Club and went 278, 163 the second game, or 162. So I was still 40 over after 2 games, and then we made a move. Now, these 2 lanes we went on, I saw the bowlers that were there, and the one guy who was there was the one who was averaging 245 that first day. By the way, he struggled the second day and came back a little bit to reality, I believe. And so I saw him in his first 2 games, and he struggled big time. So it was kind of interesting. He's a left-handed too. So I was like, all right, well, I'm going to, when you make those lane changes, you try and calculate the best move where you should be. On that one, there were 2 lefties. They were both playing more in the middle than I was. So when we moved down there, we were on 19 and 20. Lane 19 was not hooking at all. If you missed in, it just straight as a string. I had to slow down significantly. I would say probably a mile per hour less than I was throwing the rest of the day. And even then, there were some shots that weren't coming back. So it was real speed sensitive. My partner, one of the guys we bowled with in team, he really struggled. But we had that first game we shot a 4-man 960, 970, and we had a pretty comfortable lead after that first game. And so the second game I struggled. The other guys still bowled good. So we had a significant lead going into the third game, and then it kind of, the wheels came off for some of my teammates. My doubles partner and he bowled really well. I bowled pretty decent that third game. I was able to keep it in the 2s. But something unique happened so lane 19, there was 0 hook. Lane 20 was the opposite. It was hooking more than any of the other, by that point, 10 lanes we had been on throughout the tournament. So it was really unique in that I had to pretty much play completely 2 different types of styles. So one of the guys that was there was like, hey, this is kind of what's going on. And this is the one thing I was telling one of the guys on my squad or on my team was that, with you're less afraid to use a different ball on each lane. I don't like doing that. That's like, for me, that's like a completely last resort. But I didn't want to be Dutch 200 the entire last 3 games. So what I did is I used the theorem on the right lane, and it worked great. And then I switched to the Brunswick mindset, the pin down one on the left. And that was a great ball change, I ended up shooting in the 220s for game 4, I believe. And then game 5, I ended up with like a 190 something. So I ended up with right around 1050 again. But we had a really nice cushion those first couple games. And then my partner, who I bowled doubles with, he bowled really good. We both shot about 1050. I think he outbeat me by about 6 pins or so. And then the other two guys, they had bowled well until we moved down there, and then they each had a bad game. So I think they were both in the mid nines. So we averaged right around 1,000, pretty much a person, when it boiled down to it, and we ended up winning gold by 20 pins. So ultimately, it was a great event. I ended up in all events. I ended up in 6th place. So I was off the show by 12 pins, or off the 5-man stepladder final. So I was off by 12 pins. So all in all, it was a difficult shot, which I like because it was challenging. It wasn't an easy shot. There weren't huge scores. I believe my 278 I think it was a 279 the first day. And so my 278, that first game I had, was the second highest game of the event. So it was a good challenge. As always, it's a learning curve. And there's some things that I don't understand, especially as far as it came that second day. Is still, I'm not sure. That's why I'm saying the only thing I can boil it down to, with all my experience and everything and all the stuff I watch, is by using all different types of balls and still getting the same reaction, is that it could have been topography or dirty back ends. But I hate saying that because I know these guys worked hard and kept things clean. So I'm assuming it could have just been a bad pair of lanes that we were bowling on. And that's what I'm boiling that down to, which is unfortunate because, like I said, that second day, man, I threw the ball excellent. Really enjoyed that second day. And so all in all, it was a great event. Because I got a gold in the final day, I qualify for some extra swag for when I go to the World Games, which is cool. A jersey and hat and some other stuff for bowling the gold, plus if you look at my Instagram, you'll see the picture of the medal. So it was cool. It was a good experience. Good first tournament. Really gave me some good mental strength going into it. I was real nervous about my back, how it was going to hold up my hand, because I wasn't bowling my practice games like I really wanted to. But my mental game was great. I was really pleased with my mental game. I really focused through the 5 games. And so hopefully those are some tips that'll help you when you're bowling, is don't get frustrated. Guys were getting frustrated, and that's when their scores really went down. But if you really stay focused, and if you know you're bowling well but you're not getting the breaks, just keep doing what you're doing, make small changes, and hopefully that it improves. If not, make the best of what you have and go from there. And just keep bowling as hard as you can, keep trying to learn. And like I said, I can always take something from this tournament. I'm just glad I came home with some type of medal. I was close. I was very close to getting medals on multiple occasions, but it didn't happen. But it's good omen for me coming up to the World Games. The World Games is treated very similar to, it's an experience much like the USPC tournament, where they have officials all around. They really do have good lane maintenance people that come in, take care of the lanes, make sure that the lanes are as even or are done as best as possible. And so I'm really looking forward to that tournament, see how it goes. And then obviously the one where I can make some money at, the Nevada one in August. So I'll be back, folks. Excited. Also, I'll be starting a sport league on Sunday. It's a practice league, 4 games. We're starting on the bat pattern this Sunday. So I'll be bowling in 2 leagues. And so I'll be coming to you with some reports on that, some challenges, some things I learned from those patterns that we bowl. I'll discuss that a little bit more during my league reviews, and just keep watching my videos. And thanks for watching. Hopefully I'll be adding some equipment pretty soon, and so you'll be able to see that. And then I'll do another tournament prep video closer to the end of June, whenever I'm getting ready to go to Alabama. Again, with that one, I'm flying, so I'm not taking quite as many bowling balls. So I'll show you my arsenal and talk about it. All right. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Tell your friends about it. Tell anybody who's interested in bowling, anybody who's interested in bowling local tournaments. Some of the things I discussed in this will definitely help them out. All right. Have a great week and good bowling.